the fiery ditch created to kill the Buddha. Folks, I am pointing at the fiery ditch Chandi Mow or Shingmi created to kill the Buddha, and this is the same ditch during the monsoons full of water. Folks, there was a attempt to make a pit and fill it with water. See, this ditch was first a pit full of fire, and it was covered up with planks and grass, so that if the Buddha stepped on it, he would fall down and burn to death. Folks, but when he stepped on it, the fiery ditch turned into a beautiful lake, this lake, with plenty of lotus blooming in the water. So how did I come to the conclusion that this is the fiery ditch which was created to kill the Buddha? You will have to understand it, you will have to view the video. Now folks, I have shown you what you call it, Sithauda, where the elephant attacked the Buddha, and the Buddha stood his ground and the elephant froze. And then I showed you where Sariputra saw Aswaghosh, questioned him and learnt about the Buddha. Now Zhang takes us northeast to the place where they tried to kill the Buddha. See, there was a person, Zhang calls him Shingmi. Shingmi is actually Chandi Mow. So he goes, what do you call it? This Chandi Mow is a heretic. Heretic means a Hindu. And he, what do you call it? The Buddha is so popular that very few people are the Hindu followers. So what Chandi Mow does is he makes a fiery pit. And he covers it up with wood and grass, thin layer, so that the Buddha will fall through into the fire. And then as a second option, if that one failed, if the fiery pit failed, he prepared some poison rice. Now, what do you call it? People in the area, they hear about this diabolical plan and they inform the Buddha. But the Buddha says that these things will not hurt me. And he goes ahead, he accepts the invitation. And he walks onto the fiery pit. And lo and behold, the fiery pit changes into a very cool pond, a lake. Folks, the lake's name is Chandi Mow. Yes, the lake's name is Ashutosh Sithauda, Godma, Junedi, Pawadi. The lake's name is Pushkarni Sarovar. The lake's name is Pushkarni Sarovar, folks. So the lake that is formed is called Pushkarni Sarovar, and basically the second attempt of feeding the Buddha poison rice, the Buddha eats the rice and continues preaching to everyone. So that man Chandi becomes a follower of the Buddha. So folks, I will first show you the, what do you call it, pit, fiery pit, and then I will show you what Zhang has to say. Then I'll show you the fiery pit in satellite pictures, and then I will show you the real pictures of the pit itself, where they tried to kill the Buddha. Now that Yun Sang has shown us the spot where Sariputra heard Asaji, or Asutosh, the real name is Asutosh, preaching, and Asaji tells him about the Buddha. So this is the spot. Now let's see where Zhang takes us. To the north of this place, not far off, there is a very deep ditch. So to the north of Asutosh Pawadi, there is a not far off, there is a very deep ditch by the side of which is built a stupa. This is the spot where Srigupta Shie-li-kio-to'wished, that is actually Chandi Mow. Srigupta is, see these people sitting in Calcutta and translating, they were just using words. She taking this as at face value. This is Shie-li is Chandi. Shie-li is Chandi, Kyoto is Chandi Mow. So wish to destroy Buddha by means of fire concealed in the ditch and poisoned with poisoned rice. So to the north of this place, not far off, is a very deep ditch by the side of which is built a stupa. This is the spot where Shie-li-kio-to'wished wished to destroy Buddha by means of fire concealed in the ditch. Now let's see where it is to the north of Asutosh Pawadi. Here we are Asutosh Mahadev temple. Asutosh, this is the place where Sariputra heard Asaji is a mispronunciation of Asutosh, preaching, and this is where Asutosh introduced Sariputra to the Buddha. So now to the north is a deep ditch. See, this is Pushkarni Sarovar next to Chandi Mow, that is your Shingmi. Chandi is Shingmi. So this is the lake. I will broaden it. See, there is the lake. This was the fiery pit, and which was made to kill the Buddha. Now let's carry on with the story. And next to it was the stupa. This is the village is settled on the stupa. You can see the circular thing of the stupa. So the village has settled on the stupa. So this is the fiery ditch which this gentleman had created to kill the Buddha. It is exactly north of Asutosh Pawadi. See, that is your Pawadi and this is Asutosh. Now let's see what else Zhang says. To the north of this place, not far off, there is a very deep ditch by the side of which is built a stupa. I showed you that the village is under the stupa. This is the spot where Srigupta Shie-li, that is Chandi, Kyoto is Chandi Mow, wished to destroy Buddha by means of fire concealed in the ditch and poisoned rice. Now Srigupta, greatly honored, believed in the heretics. Heretics means Hindu, and his mind was deeply possessed by false views. All the brahmacharis said, the men of the country greatly honor Gautama, and in consequence he causes our disciples to be without support. So the Hindus were the heretics, the Sanatan. They were complaining that everyone is supporting Gautama, Gautam Buddha, and no one was for supporting them. He causes our disciples to be without support. Invite him then to your house to eat, and before the door make a great ditch and fill it with fire. So they decided to kill him. Invite him to your house to eat, and before your door make a great ditch and fill it with fire, and cover it over slightly with wooden planks to conceal the fire. Moreover, poison the food so that if he escapes the fire, he will take the poison. Srigupta, according to his directions, caused the poison to be prepared, and then all the people in the town, knowing the evil and destructive design of Srigupta, it is not Srigupta, it's Chandi Mow, against the Lord of the world, and treated Buddha not to go to the house. The Lord said, "Be not distressed. The body of Tathagat cannot be hurt by such means as these." He therefore accepted the invitation and went. When his foot trod on the threshold of the door, the fire in the pit became a tank of pure water with lotus flowers on its surface. So this is the story of the fiery pit, folks, which I have shown you here. This is the lake and this is the stupa. The village is settled on it. It is Chandi Mow, what do you call it? What does he call it? Shingmi. Zhang Zhang calls it Shingmi, that is Chandi Mow. So folks, this is the thing. Check out the pictures of this lake, which was the fiery pit intended to kill the Buddha. Okay, now folks, see the hills you see before me is your Gridkut. Gridkut is actually Giriyak mountain, folks, and see this lake I am pointing to is the fiery pit. This is actually the old Rajgir. The old Rajgir. This is the Rajgir area, and this is the fiery pit. According to Zhang Zhang, what do you call it? North of where Sariputra heard Ashutosh or Asadi preaching the Buddha's law is the fiery pit. The fiery pit is this Chandi Mow, and you see the lake behind me. This is what do you call it? This lake, actually it was a ditch. A person called Chandi Mow, he made a ditch and he filled it with fire. Why? Because he wanted to kill the Buddha, because of the Buddha, the people weren't following the Hindus. So they had decided to get rid of the Buddha. And for that he made this ditch and he filled it with fire, and he covered the top of the ditch with planks and grass, so that when the Buddha walked over it, he would fall into it and burn himself to death. But what happens is when he walks over the over the planks, he doesn't fall into it, and the fiery ditch turns into a cool lake with lotus flowers blossoming all over the lake. So this is where the Chandi Mow, he failed to kill the Buddha. So, but his second option was he made this ditch on the door of his house. So the stupa you see on which the village was his house. So, and he invites the Buddha for rice, and he mixes poison with the rice. And when the Buddha eats it, he continues preaching the perfect law. So that man is surprised, and he becomes the Buddha's supporter, and he becomes a very strong supporter. So folks, this lake you see behind me is the fiery ditch, Chandi Mow, mispronounced by Zhang Zhang as Shingmi. This is where this lake, there was an attempt to kill the Buddha. The locals don't know this story, but they only know one thing, that this lake is very, 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 very holy, and the entire area comes and prays here. See, Buddhism remains in some form or the other. So folks, this is your Pushkarni Lake. They have named this lake Pushkarni, but it isn't Pushkarni Lake, it is Chandi Mow Lake. So folks, I hope you found this video educative? If you did so, then don't forget to follow, like and subscribe to my page Buddha Exhumed, and don't forget to tell your friends and relatives about this video, because they have definitely heard this story of the fiery pit turning into a lake, but it was thought to be mythology. Well, it is mythology, but the lake is here. So folks, thank you.